Welcome everyone to CBC Comics, or the CBC Comics, as I have to legally say, apparently. Um, yeah, I didn't think there was going to be any news this week, but thankfully C2e2 happened, and I completely forgot about it. So, but yeah, as usual, you can follow me on Twitter, Mitch692. You can follow the channel by googling Comic Book Classifiers absolutely everywhere. And once again, I'm joined by Sean.
What's up? How you doing? Still on media lockdown, but you can follow me anywhere.
That was high energy, and I appreciate it because I'm severely low on it today.
it's a surge.
I made the grave mistake of watching. I say mistake. I loved every minute of it. I watched Spirited Away and Prince Mononoke back to back last night, so I had like 4.5 hours, and it's like, oh, it's 3:45 in the morning. Then I woke up about 2:45 in the afternoon. So
did you tear up? Because I kind of teared up a bit.
Did I cheer up?
Yeah, tear up.
Oh yeah.
I tear up all the time when I watch that.
They're just so good.
Yeah,
it's like I've been meaning to because obviously that Netflix in the UK, and I think the rest of the world has got the entire, or they're getting the entire collection, right? And like they're doing 3 drops over 3 months. They're in the second one, and I was like, I've been behind on the first one. I only managed to watch Tales of Mercy, and it's like, I'm just gonna jump ahead to the March and watch these 2 movies, and then I'll go back to everything else. It's just like, oh,
yeah. They're classics, man. Like
they are. And if you don't like them, you are wrong.
You are
uncultured. You have no taste. You disgust me.
You're heathens. Heathens.
Burn you at the stake like a witch that you are. But yeah, that's a far cry from anything on it. So yeah, to get right into it, our first piece of news is Silk has returned to Marvel, unless she ever left.
Surprise!
In the old Agents of Atlas comics, in the reboot of that. But yeah, she's coming back with a new ongoing. I don't think they actually announced the creative team on it. I could be completely wrong, and I more than likely am.
You know what's funny, and this is kind of off topic, but like kind of on topic. Recently, Hasbro kind of part her up for like which with another figure to see which figure they want made, and Silk kind of like
it was Silk. Oh, I know.
Thor's girl. Man, I'm having a brain for it.
Sif, Lady Sif.
Lady Sif, yeah.
Oh, who was the third one? I know the third one was a white suit something because they were all white.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Not that Silk's white. Silk's got white. Who?
I forgot what it was, but the Silk one blew it. Like in the polls, kind of blew everything away.
I'd say Silk's one of those characters where people say she's not popular, but her initial run lasted for ages. It went for a good couple of years, which for a new character is unheard of, really. Sure, she's got the Spider-Man factor behind her, but in the age of people moaning online about the women's, how they're going to take everything, a female Spider-Man character, I'm surprised it lasted that long.
Well, she kind of hits like 2 quadrants, man. She's a woman, like she's a female character and like an ethnic character too on top of it. So like it kind of hits like it. I mean, plus like the character was kind of well written, so like it's not.
I loved her run. I thought it was fantastic. It got a bit weird when they relaunched it, even though it's still carrying on. And it's like, but it's still.
Didn't they change something with her when it came back? I think it was.
I think they did. I can't remember what. God, it's been so long, and everything. Yeah. Everything else you read just kind of pushes it to back. But acclaimed novelist Maureen Gu, with art by all-star Takeshi Miyazawa.
Okay.
Is doing. I know Miyazawa's stuff, and I cannot think. Oh, he's the guy who does the Met Cadet U. Yeah. Boom.
Okay, that's a good pairing, though. I mean, I love the character. I love the look. There's a lot of people cosplaying as her too, so it's like.
Yeah, she's got one of those like instant classic suits.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have designed it or signed off on it, but it's like, you know what, it works. It works.
It helps her separate from like the rest of the Spider family, so to speak.
Definitely.
So. Yeah, she looks like a ninja type.
So what is it with the lady spiders and the web fingers?
I don't know.
Why don't the dudes do that?
Maybe it's just like
what is this?
maybe it's a female thing. I don't know.
You know, like both Jessica and Cindy have got it from the fingers. Miles does the Venom blast crap, but then Peter's just like, my fingers are sticky. I cling to them. Yeah, come on.
He's left out of the men are left out of the sticky fingers.
Then again, no, I don't go there. No, we would not go.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. All right.
YouTube will just be like, ha, no.
Next topic.
At least I can say it's not it's not child friendly, so they can't demonetize me for that one. But hey. So yeah, I'm not. When is they coming back? I assume it's got to be after May because they've had the solicitations for May.
Yeah.
I don't think it actually says when they're coming back.
I mean, I'd say May probably, right?
I probably would have gone that April. Just purely because we've had the May solicits and that would have been revealed.
So come back with like all.
Oh, silly me! It's in literally in the subheading of the headline. July.
We were way off on that one. Yeah. He's gonna come back with all 100 variant covers. That,
they are gonna flood the market with those variants.
Bastards.
Flood them.
Fun fact: I don't get discounts on comics.
You would have thought you would have. But, so it's kind of like, has she got a movie coming out?
Well, I heard.
I assume Sony's doing something with stuff.
Yeah, like Sony is probably got like Sony's got probably every character in the Spider Universe and like in a development, movie or cartoon.
I imagine, like, let's be honest, probably Spider-Verse 2.
Yeah, I mean, look, she could fit into that. I mean, like, it'd be nice to introduce more characters, so.
Also, to go back to the toy conversation earlier, it was Elektra.
Yeah, Elektra was
weird.
That was a weird one though, man, because like Elektra's just got recently released again. It's why would we need another Elektra?
It's almost like she's coming back.
Yeah.
We'll get the rights back.
The Sith one.
Don't make me edit that out.
Yeah,
I went through the last one like edit.
Nothing.
Just in case. Edit.
Nothing.
So I'm gonna edit that out, so no one's gonna hear it. To move on, we have the name of the X-Men event that Hickman is doing, and no, it's not X of Swords because this is Hickman. The X is a 10.
10.
And it's a 10 of Swords after the tarot card.
Yep. That's
yeah.
Like, what do you think that has? Like, does it have a synopsis or what
they have. I don't think they've released anything information-wise. I think they're trying to keep it under wraps. They're just kind of talking about here's this thing. But if the 10 of Swords tarot card ain't good. It's a really bad one.
And the solicits art, so it looks like every X-Men character has a sword in their hands too. So.
Yep, and the image they revealed, Cyclops' hand is in fact backwards. That's holding the sword. So
awesome. Hey,
it's the first thing I saw. I was like, "Hang on a minute, that hand's back to front. There's no thumb there. Yeah. That's the back of the hand."
That is.
It's really unfortunate, and it's a simple mistake to make. But hey, it happens.
Yeah, everybody makes mistakes.
So obviously there are some swords in there that people recognize. Like there's I think it's the Blade of the Phoenix that Rachel Gray has. I can't for the life of me tell you what the name of the Katana Wolverine has.
I forgot. The one with the soul, part of his soul is in the sword, like Mitsumatsu. My wife's gonna kick me in the head.
It's something like Mitzi, like that.
My wife's gonna kick me in the head because I should be able to pronounce this. So.
I mean, she can't remember what it's called. You can't pronounce it properly. So that's
like,
fine.
Yeah, it's just sort of like his soul's like grafted to the part of his soul is grafted to the sword. That's the only thing that could kill him.
Wolverine sword. I'm not googling. What are you talking about?
I don't hear nothing.
The Muramasa blade.
Muramasa blade. Yeah.
It began with an M.
But it was so off my pronunciation.
Oh, it's fine. You'll think of a different word. No,
I can make up whatever.
yeah. So obviously, you got of course, you got Ileana Magic with the Soul Sword. Charles is in fact wielding the sword that Magneto made from the Cerebro when he was killed. So he's got the Cerebro sword. There are some other like well-known X-Men swords in there, but
what's Cyclops' backwards hand holding? So that's like.
Well, it looks like him and Storm have lightsabers.
That's cool. Like, hey, get it.
Well, I say lightsaber. She's got like an electric one. He's got like what looks like his eyes.
It's like a flame.
The eye beam. It's like kind of cool. So something's obviously going to happen. I have no idea. I'm just going to Google and double check that there is no synopsis for this event as a whole. X of Swords. Because if you read it as X of Swords, it sounds back to front. It should be Swords of X.
Swords of X. It makes more sense. But who's the question? The great Hickman. So.
Exactly. Who are we? Simple peons.
I was gonna say we're common folk. we don't. Like it looks like
in the story, 10 mutants will wield legendary swords from the Marvel Universe, some of which may already have their own reputations against a mysterious threat. So they can't even tell us that. Of course, they're going to tell us. Jonathan Hickman and Excalibur writer Teenie Howard will head up 10 of Swords, with other writers from the Dawn of X line also contributing. Obviously, because everything's got to be involved, because they want you to read all 12 X-Men books.
Of course. Like, well, I mean, the Excalibur thing kind of like is like a given, right? You know, I
say Excalibur makes sense because she's got a sword already, and the book's literally titled after a sword.
Tell me this though, like we could have figured that out by what that synopsis was so basic that we could have just looked at the picture.
I mean, yeah. I just wanted to double check that I have all the information, and I wasn't just being my usual dumb self and forgetting everything. The title 10 of Swords, which Hickman said has been coined by Howard, so well done, Howard, may also hint at the story's themes beyond the obvious connection to 10 mutants wielding 10 swords. The title pronounced 10 of Swords. So if anyone goes, it's X, it's not 10, like they did with me when Hoxpox was coming out, you can delete that comment. Thank you very much. You're not gonna, but you can, don't delete it because it drives engagement and pushes the video forward.
Give us a thumbs down too while you're at it.
I mean, yeah, it don't matter anymore. Literally nothing matters on YouTube. It's all placebo.
Thumbs up, thumb down.
10 of Swords may refer to the 10 of Swords tarot card, which in the parlance of tarot fortune telling indicates adjacent disaster, or no, abject disaster and ruin. And of course, when read literally, 10 of Swords resembles the expression crossing swords, a literal clash of blades.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
10 of Swords begins in July. Stay tuned. So yeah, there was obviously going to be an X-Men event coming, whether people liked it or not, because it's Marvel and Hickman, and they want no Hickman event. You know, you did Avengers, and we got Infinity. So yeah, we're gonna have to cut that one short.
Sorry, guys.
There was a small accident. Well, I assume it was a small one. Apparently, from the sound of it, it was huge.
Huge.
The
size of a softball.
Yeah. So 10 of Swords. I don't know what to think. I'm very much. I think burnout is a strong word for where I am. X-Men. Yeah. There's too much of it. I kind of only just want to read the main X-Men book and Children of the Atom, which they talked about that Children of the Atom book, and apparently it's like what happens when X-Men fans become like get the powers. So I assume that's how the Gen 1 Chimeras are going to go. Not that the Chimeras were the Gen 1s, but like the Gen 1s of those started out just like, let's just see if we can put powers in different people.
Yeah. Sort of like experiments and stuff like that.
Yeah, so hopefully they play a part in this, because obviously that book's starting soon, I think.
Yeah,
I'm pretty certain it's starting soon.
Yeah.
So they'll no doubt be involved in this somehow, because all 12 books are going to be crossing over, apparently. So
yeah, like remember when we were at the beginning of this, when they started this, we were all like hyped up and stuff like that, and now like like I think reality's setting in now with like how many books you have to read to like
Yeah.
kind of.
So I was okay with the 6 because I could still pick and choose, and I was always going to pick and choose anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I don't know that there's a vast. It feels different from book to book, and I'm not a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. Like, I want to see how. Like, I'm gonna give it the first couple of issues to see how, like, where this places in. And if it doesn't seem like it's like kind of relevant to everything around, I think I'm gonna sideline it.
I mean, like this is, it's Hickman, so it's gonna be like relevant to everything. And I think that's where I'm gonna be at. Like, if Hickman's not touching it, I'm not gonna be reading it because you know Hickman's only gonna be there for the big important bit.
But then just in a way, like you say that now, but then he's gonna say like something important's gonna happen in that.
That's true.
You're gonna be like, they're gonna have that.
Also, the way he's doing the main X-Men title is really weird. It's just like, oh, here's a single issue story. Then the next issue is nothing about the next bit. It's just like, what's going on here? Like, is this a setup for the next book? Like, he said you don't have to read everything, and it's like, oh, I feel like I have to right now. But
yeah,
hey, I'm sure I'll do what I did with his Avengers run, and then when it's like 6 months out from the end, I'll just catch up on everything. I'll wait till that Christmas and just read X-Men for a month.
Well, yeah, I think I might wait till it comes on the digital platform to kind of like.
I think Marvel Unlimited now has just got Hoxpox.
I think it just hit number 2 or 3 or something like that.
Something like that.
I'm okay with waiting, man. If it's not like if it's not like important, then I'm not like really worried about it. Like,
so
I don't know. You know, like you can't.
I like my balance. I like my really important bit. I like my really obscure, it don't matter to anything bit. But reading all of the X-Men and like it's taking over everything else. Yeah, it's kind of like
that
too much.
You kind of have to draw a line at some point because like you can't. You remember it's turning into the 90s where everything was just like you had to get every piece of comic to understand what the heck's going on.
You had to be the whale that eats everything.
Yeah, and it's like as much as I love what they're doing with the characters, I don't know, like economically it's kind of hard, and also in the fact that like you only have so much time on your hands where you can't read every book. Like it's just hard. I said on Twitter the other day, like we got. I thought we had Empire and Ten of Swords at the same time. We don't. It's back to back. And I said on Twitter, like, oof, we got them at the same time. And it doesn't even follow me. Right? I don't know where they came from. Completely were like, why are you whining? Like, it's always about money with you people. It's like, I never mentioned money. It's just it's about my want to read 2 events back to back, and it's like you don't follow me. Why? I don't owe you anything. Like, it really annoyed me, but that's a different thing. That's the problem with the internet is like it gives every person a voice, and
it's just like who are you? Who are you to tell me what I should do? And why are you mad that I don't want to read something?
I'd be like this. How about this? Block. You don't ever have to.
Oh well, I just said that. I just said they're boring and muted them. So it's like if they wanted to carry on, I could carry on. I ain't ever gonna see it. So.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation. Like I don't know, man. It's I don't see it as whining as much as like you just like unless you're not working or doing anything in life, you're not gonna have the time to like read these things all at one time. It's just not possible. Exactly. There's so much going on, you can't now. I think now in the X-Men period, it's kind of the time where people have to start picking and choosing what they want to read. And like, I don't know, man. If something happens in this series that I missed, then I'm just gonna have to catch it up on the Wikipedia, or it's just,
exactly.
Exactly. I can't. You can't keep. I don't know. It's just like you said, if Hickman's not involved, then I'm not gonna like it's not gonna be like priority for me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, excuse me. But right, moving on. We talked about it last week. How could we not? The DO was ousted from DC. There was no word of why. There was obviously something going on there. There's a ton of rumors about Marvel buying DC. At C2e2, poor Jim Lee. I would not have wanted to have been that guy at C2e2.
Yeah.
Of course, you got the questions. The fact that he had to sit there and address that no, Marvel is not buying DC. What are you talking about? Is horrific and dumb as it is.
I bet he felt immensely stupider after that conversation.
He probably felt like the smallest person on the planet. Like, especially talking about all this other stuff, and we're talking about this. And people are like, "What about the Snyder Cut?" And then he sat on the fence and he still gets crap for it, which sort your lives out.
Like, he's not going to know anything about a Snyder Cut, or he doesn't anything. This is the wrong person to ask about a movie cut of anything. Like this guy's a publisher.
But far cry from what we're actually talking about, because this is all about the Dio. Bleeding Cool, they're very hit or miss on a lot of things. Comics, I tend to like take their word for it because they're really good on getting the comics. Apparently, Didio was in fact fired.
Good. Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a choice for him to leave. It was a straight up no. That's it. We've had enough. You're gone. Apparently, the work environment was quite hostile.
Okay.
And, a lot of it was to do with Scott Snyder. Apparently, he because Snyder's like the DC golden child. Apart, especially now that like Johns isn't really doing much. It's very much all falls on
Snyder's.
But apparently Snyder does not like the idea of 5G. Apparently 5G or Generation 5 is worrying retailers because understandably the retailers are worried about when Marvel did the exact same thing. Replaced the mainline heroes and wondering how DC's going to be any different. Yeah, fair enough. Apparently Snyder doesn't like that at all. But apparently I think from the sounds of it, DC's very divided on that entire thing. So how that's going to play out, we're just going to have to wait and see. But I think that's coming at the end of the year anyway. So,
wasn't Didio the biggest person behind that change or the 5G?
I believe so. I believe so.
Yeah. I mean, look, I never really got why they're doing this, especially after they've already changed the status quo and kind of cemented.
I think it's just the whole premise of 5G is to it's what Rebirth did. Rebirth was like, right, no, we're gonna sort our continuity out. Boom, here's your thing. Here's our continuity. Everything's in canon going forward. But that kind of led saying cool, everything's canon, everything's in this one timeline. It's all well and good. I can't remember them actually really sorting the timeline out and explaining how everything works. So I think this is more to do with explaining how everything fits.
Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, especially with DC's continuity. I mean, that's like what 3 or 4 dry boards of connecting yarn.
At least. At least.
I think. I mean, in theory, I think this is a good idea, but that's with the best possible outcome. I think the 5G thing. I mean, look, it's good to have legacy characters and other people doing that, but it's how long are they going to stick with this? Is my question. Is they don't have.
I mean, it's like.
They don't have a very good track record when it comes to that.
No, then neither of the big two do really.
No, for sure. I'm saying that in general.
Oh yeah. It's just kind of I don't know if I'm at that point now where it's does something sticking make that thing important?
No.
Does it make that relevant? Does that thing that's kind of where I am? It's if I sit there and worry about if something's gonna stick, I'll never read anything.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of you know what? I don't want to do that.
So. Especially with comics, man. Comics are a revolving door of it changes every 3 months. There's something that changes the continuity of a character. So it's continuity, I think, is kind of a prison for anything.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you admit that there's a continuity, one straight continuity, then you have to kind of stick to that, and it kind of writes a lot of writers into a corner because you can't do certain things if that doesn't fit into the continuity. I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's the sticking point for him getting fired. I think it's just everything's kind of built up.
It said the article verbatim is Bleeding Cool now understands that yes, Dio was fired this morning for Warner from, or no, was fired this morning by Warner Brothers. I'm good at English now. At 10:30 a.m. PT in their Burbank offices, and he left the building straight away. I'm told by sources close to the situation that he was fired for fostering a poor work environment, as evidenced, as we previously stated, by significant departures of the publishers at the publisher by editors. Dan DiDio has a reputation of being a micromanager for some, for being very involved in projects for others.
Yeah.
And DC Comics was heading towards a big change in its publishing program, one aspect of which was the much rumored 5G or Generation 5, which would have seen DC's major figures Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, Diana, and more aged out and replaced with new characters taking over Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And some folks at DC Comics are very much against this, but opposition never worried Dan. After all, he was a constant ardor of the direction the company line was pushed for pretty much his entire career as publisher, and was striving to put comics first as he saw it. In recent months, there seemed to be editorial backtracks and direction given, details changes, and general sense of frustration that the clock was ticking, that nothing was being done. Rapid departure in editorial of Pat McCallum, Alex Antoine, Molly Mahan, Rob Levin, and others. I never actually noticed, because I haven't really been looking at DC that much recently. I never noticed they lost a ton of editors. Which it kind of, you should look at it, all
fits,
dots, all fingers are pointing in the same direction. So,
I think the funniest part of that whole article is like he goes to work early. He goes to work, they fire him, and then he leaves immediately after that. So they waited till like the next day when he first walks in the door. I don't know. I think this is a hugely good thing. I think that DC needs he needs an infusion of newer, I think people like Tom King.
It needs a fresh perspective on it.
Yeah. And he's been doing it for so long. I'm going to take everything out of like the hostile working environments, which it's pretty dead on. Like, I'm not in that company.
I mean, if you look at what Scott Snyder said, he goes, we've had some pretty nuclear fights. I can see using the word nuclear. That's kind of like
that's a dead point of like having, but like taking that all away, he hasn't really supported. I don't think he supported like some of the biggest talent in there. Like you look at Tom King's runs, man. Like, this is a guy that could very well be like an all-star in that company, But it says,
like, he's very hands-on with everything, very micromanaging. Like, no wonder like Heroes in Crisis went the way it did. Like, I didn't need this article to tell me the Dio was micromanaging Heroes in Crisis. Yeah, it literally stank of it, and I can't.
We've been talking about it for months now about this. Like the storylines have really suffered because of that. When you are a publisher, it's a bad idea to like micromanage, because like you're not using your time wisely by doing that. Like, that's not what just, you got to let the talent do what they need to do. And then like, if it doesn't, like, I mean, I know Marvel has its moments and has its bad times, but like, look at current Marvel comics now. Like, do you seriously think that like who's the published,
CB Cebulski.
Do you think that he goes to each and every writer of every thing and just like, like, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, just.
I'd like to think not, but then again, he was the talent scout at Marvel for years, so just from that angle, it's kind of like, why get the talent and then kind of like shoehorn them into something?
Well, I mean, like, I think in this current iteration of the Marvel comics, it's like, it feels like the creators are doing their thing, and then like, if it doesn't kind of like jive with what they're trying to do, they kind of fix it. They don't like block people. They don't, like, DiDio is very famous. I mean, like, look, he's pushed out pretty prominent like writers and in that company. Like, I don't think I would want to work in a company like that. Like, just doesn't seem fun. Like
it was, this whole thing was definitely quick, because it says that the departure was a surprise to him as it was everyone else. Apparently, it was internally announced at a series of small staff meetings in Burbank.
That he
That's
was not announced.
nuts. That is no wonder there was no official
Nah.
statement on him leaving. They didn't.
Well-
No one knew, and
well-
apparently, though no one seems to have told the executives attending Comics Pro, who had to read about it on Bleeding Cool on their phones.
And then you got people like Rob Liefeld and like saying.
So
stupid things.
Liefeld's dancing on the dude's grave, and it's just like, chill, have a sense of decorum, Liefeld.
Well, I think honestly, I think this is probably the best decision they've ever made in a long time for that company.
Hopefully, it turns out it's obviously the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. They could get someone worse than the Dio in there.
Yeah, I mean it's 50-50, but you never know until you actually put that
true.
that in. You can't like rely on the fact of it's a what if of like what if we do this? You know, like they're only gonna know if the current the current titles just don't work. Like nobody talks about DC anymore. You know, like barely anybody. So like there has to have been something.
I say something's been going on because you can look at like you can look at news sites and the big cons when there's supposed to be like a ton of news announced. Like DC hasn't really been announcing a lot of stuff.
No.
Like you get some things, but whether that was because of the whole Doomsday Clock thing and Rebirth not lining up how they wanted to, so that they had to flounder for a little bit, I don't know. But it's like there's been goings on there for at least a year.
Well, the biggest plus is like, it's kind of like a new, like you just need to. It has to be new creative influences in there. You can't have a guy that's been working the company for like how long? Decades. And,
God, he's been there 20 years.
And like, if you look at it, it's like it almost is over. It's like way overdue for someone like this. To go and say that firing him is like the best way, I don't know because I don't know the situation. But like, I think something needed to be done, just to kind of like, I don't know. Who knows? Next year, year after that, DC could be like probably top of the pile. You never know. Like this.
I mean, exactly that. The comics, the hierarchy of comics is a pendulum. Right? Yeah. That just swings backwards and forwards constantly.
But I think DC
every couple of years it's like Marvel's on top, DC's on top, Marvel's on top, DC's on top. Unfortunately, Image never gets on top, which sucks. Like, what are readers doing? Like, pull your finger out, read Image.
Well, I think Image is like one of the last like frontiers of like I want to say independent comics, but it's not really an independent comic. But like.
No, they're the most independent comics. Like, no.
Yeah,
that's why they're bigger than all the other independent comics. Like.
Well, yeah, I mean, you never know that this could possibly benefit them too. Because like next year could be the year of Image. Who knows? Like
now I'm the big two.
But I think this was kind of overdue.
I think him going was long overdue. Like
but like, and also who wants to be doing the same job for 20-something years now? Like he must be. There must be a side of him saying, "Oh, thank God, now I can go do something else," or something. Like
hopefully, because it's like no matter what you think about what he's done, the way they if he's made a hostile work environment, fair enough. But like just suddenly losing your job like that, that's harsh.
I mean, but that's how it works, though.
It's how it works, but like.
I don't know.
Losing your job quickly and without warning is that's hard.
It sucks, but then look at it this way though. Like he's been running that company for decades. Like it's obviously not working with him in charge. So he's not doing his job. So I mean, like, yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of sucky that they just like, hey, you're fired, go home. But like in the same respect, if the hostile working environment thing is they had to take action. They couldn't have just let the guy do whatever he wants to for however long he wanted to do it. Like that's how people like. I don't feel like when people get fired for sexual harassment, I don't go, "Oh, I'm so sorry for you."
No, but it's one of those where it's if it was a hostile work environment, because I can't imagine it was been like that the entire time. Like it's obviously it must have been like a boiling point recently.
Or maybe it's because that he's creatively stale, and that's why he's taking his frustrations out on everybody else. Which
very well be.
This could be probably the best thing for him. Is like just look for other ways. Like he's not going to be out of work for any time like short time.
Oh no,
like
no.
He's got credibility. He's got the resume. So like I don't feel sorry. He got to buy it. I'm sure that he walked out of that office.
I'll say I'm sure he got something.
Yeah,
I am positive he got something.
So
there's no way.
I don't play the violin for a guy that is probably going to make out more by just sitting at home and like. Now he can do whatever. Like, if he wants to produce, he can take that money and produce money.
I'm gonna make my own universe. I'm gonna kill Dick Grayson.
I mean, but if you look at like how Image started,
yes, exactly how it started.
So, like,
maybe him and Axel Alonso can make like a new publisher,
and they get angry men, ex angry publishers. Like who knows, and like I don't know. I don't have any inside information like on that company or what goes on behind closed doors. But like, I mean, look, the writing was on the wall for that guy. He could not, and it's not like, there might be two sides. There's always two sides to every like thing, but I don't see like a person like Scott Snyder causing trouble.
No,
he for years he was creatively stifled by this guy. Like, and that's fact, right? It's not like hyperbole or anything like that. That's just fact. It's just not. It's not them not coming out and saying it, but it's just like looking at like stuff like his runs and like I don't know. It's just there's signs saying, and like there's words behind the scenes. Like I don't know. I think it's like good for that company. I think they just need something new, and like this is a fresh start, jumping off point. If they can like.
Well, hopefully it's a fresh start and a jumping on point because like Jim Lee didn't mention anything about a new publisher coming in. Like it's just now here.
Yeah. Well, I think they're gonna. I'll be honest with you, and this is me speculating. I don't think he's gonna be there. That's public. Like I think he's gonna step down. I think there's got to be one person. There can't be two people doing this job, man. Like there's
he's the one person.
I don't know. I think
like he is now the publisher,
but if you think about it though, like he's just as complacent. If all this stuff was going on behind the scenes, he's just as complacent.
It's true. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, like I imagine if Warner Brothers is like trying to do a complete reshuffle for DC, we'll hear about Jim Lee being shafted sooner or later. But
I don't think I think they might like. You got to also think about him though, like. All these years, like I'm sure he's been like stressed out of his mind, dealing with the situation, like so he might not want to do this as much as they want him out or whatever, like
possibly, yeah.
I think he seems like he's like a Scott Snyder. He's more of a creative guy versus like a business guy. Like like he's not like I don't want to use this as an example, but like Tom McFarlane's like the perfect example. He's kind of like he's like a half type of guy, and like whether you like his company or not, like it's proof in the pudding. It's successful, Like
I mean, he can make toys. He can't make movies.
No, he can't. He can talk about movies, but he can't.
It's true.
And when they come out,
it's been how long since he's been talking about that Spawn reboot?
Yeah,
no, that thing's never happening.
But like I think this is probably the best thing that's happened for the company. I think it sounds bad, but like you always need like a fresh perspective on things to kind of like get back on track. And like it happened with Marvel, like so it's gotta like I don't know. I look at it as a good thing, as a positive.
Yeah.
And now hopefully they just find the right person.
That's
the key point, and like that's where I kind of like lay and like I have zero faith in I don't have any faith on that, but I don't know. I'll eat crow if I
Yum crow.
But
right.
Yeah.
We are going to move on from that one. If anything else comes up, you can be damn well sure I'm going to talk about it because clicks.
It's delicious. It's delicious.
It's like, But right. to move on, we have Marvel's Empire. They had their panel at C2e2. We have some nice little juicy details. I can't remember if they said before that it's just kind of like a spiritual successor or sequel to the Kree Skrull War. I know they've mentioned the Kree Skrull War before, because how can you not when you got the guy who's literally half and half?
Do you mean the Kree Skrull War or the Kree Skrull War?
What's a Skrull?
I just read it on the feeds.
Oh, have I done a goof? Oh, I did. Wow. Way to call me. That's not like translate well, but okay.
It's okay. I mean,
like, he's already corrected it. What's a Skrull? Like, I was like, wait. I was like, have I just missed something about Skrull? Like,
I've been waiting the whole show to say that. But...
God, you know what the worst part is? I've already edited the layout once before, because it was not right before. It was all over the place. How I even saved it and uploaded it, I don't know. And then I was like, that's done. That's fine. But yeah, that's
It's okay. It's okay. I have zero. I have very bad English skills. So I can barely...
Absolutely destroyed, Lauren.
Sorry, I was waiting the whole show just to see something.
Wow, this is hostile work environment.
Yeah. I'm gonna be fired by them. Next podcast.
Yeah, the Kree Skrull War, as it says in the layout. I have no idea what it's talking. Yeah, it's just Empire's a spiritual sequel, because you have.
It makes sense though.
I mean, it does. It definitely makes
100%
sense. And it sounds like they have had enough of people on Earth. Because remember the time the Fantastic Four turned Skrulls into cows? Those cows got eaten. Remember the time the Fantastic Four trapped a Skrull as being a lamp for the rest of its life?
I love those.
Hulkling remembers.
The Fantastic Four are just evil people.
They really are. Remember when Terrans were just kind of like there when the Kree homeworld exploded? Well, they damn well remember. So we're the bad guys in this situation.
And I'm firmly on their side.
I suppose, roughly so. I welcome our new Hulkling overlord.
Just remember us. Don't turn us into cows.
I am very much on your side here, Hulkling. So yeah, it's kind of like, you know what? The more they talk about this, the more I'm like here for it. It's like, you know what? Like at first I was like, oh, another event. And it's like, you know what? Actually, yes.
The biggest.
You got a slut. I'm here.
Well, the biggest question mark for me is like, can they stick the landing on this, man? Like, you don't want to.
It's Al Ewing, so I've 100% faith he will stick it. The dude is a mad genius.
Well, like the minute you compare it to like classic, things like this Kree Skrull Roar, you kind of like you got people building it up, and then next thing you know, like I just hope that it kind of like, you know what I mean.
It just fizzled out. It's just like,
yeah.
But I imagine there is a reason why. Not that I'm asking the question, because there's enough editing in this video.
I don't know that.
So I assume there is a reason why the Kree Skrull War is being brought back up again.
I mean, like some of these characters are still kind of in play in the MCU, so I mean. Yeah.
Well, so this is very much a way to backdoor in the Young Avengers again.
Well, it gets
literally the guy at the center of it is a Young Avenger.
Yeah, it gets certain characters in the spotlight that weren't necessarily in the spotlight for the longest time. So
yeah.
I mean,
so hey, here's Hulkling. Obviously, you're gonna have to have Wiccan, because there's quite a big thing with him and Wiccan.
Yeah, I mean, he's not gonna get turned into a lamp or anything like that.
I hope. God, no.
So what do you think this leads though? I mean, do you think this is kind of be like a cross promotion with every character, or do you think it's just going to be like a?
Well, it's at least the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, and I think those two together kind of encompass everyone.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, because like, who hasn't been an Avenger, and the Fantastic Four has been made up of like 8,000 people at this point. So.
Yeah, Wolverine has been in both teams at this point.
Yeah, and so I assume the X-Men are going to play a part in it somewhere, because at least Wolverine's on the Fantastic Four at some point. So,
well, I mean, hasn't the X-Men encountered the Skrulls and the Krees before too? So like,
yeah.
it's not like, and they've been in space, so it's like you had to have bumped into like these. Yeah.
But they are bringing back the green side of the moon, which the Kree populated. There is going to be no Inhumans because they've let them be to rest. Which I know, I get you want to let that franchise lie a little bit, but how do you leave the Inhumans out of a Kree centric storyline?
Did they say that though? Like,
Yeah,
specifically, and say like they're not going to be in this.
yeah. They're like, oh no, they're resting for a little bit, and they joked that like Kate's killed them all. It's like, well, he didn't kill them all, did he?
No.
They're very much alive at the end of that run. So,
well, I mean, like, who knows?
Like,
they could possibly, at the end of the series, kind of like, hey, we're back. You know, it's like...
Yeah, I doubt.
You're like, you have zero...
It's like, look, let's put it this way. We have a Silk book before they've announced the new Eternals run. There's no way I'm getting the humans back anytime soon.
I mean, like, look, dude, like,
no.
the
I'll get him back. I'll get him back in the shows and the movies. I ain't getting them back anytime soon in the comics. Like, no chance.
You never know. Though. Like, look, like
No
I guess C2e2 was probably the last ditch effort to introduce like these comics. I mean, but like, I don't know. I mean, I think by the end of the year you'll probably get some hints of the humans coming back.
Nah.
I love the negativity in your voice. It's like, nah, I don't think so.
No way.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah. They, admittedly, it wasn't Cebulski, but Cebulski's an X-Men fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's enough reason for me to forever doubt the Inhumans making a return. And also forever reason for me to doubt that the Eternals will get anything more than reprints and a mini. No.
For now.
I mean, unless Feige kind of mandates it, which please, Papa. Come on. I pray every day. I pray every day. But I doubt it. No. I highly doubt it. Which is a shame because they would be a very interesting like chess piece in this, especially as, like, you know, the Kree Skrulls, Earth, like where did they lie? They're very much in the middle and after being attacked by the Kree recently.
Yeah. You sound so sad talking about
it does. Like a little piece of my soul is like just black because it's missing.
I don't know. I think so. You don't think they're going to announce anything between now and San Diego, right?
No chance. No chance. I'm trying not to actually sound like that down and beat about it. It's just kind of no.
No, it hits you that special part of your heart. I'm sure, you know, like this is your favorite, one of your favorite characters, so like you want to see him. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just have a feeling that, and this is just me. I have a feeling that you'll see the Inhumans sooner rather than later, in some point. Maybe not in their own comic, but like. They got a lot of.
I mean, I could always be like, well, there's Miss Marvel. And it's like, well, yeah, technically that's like the single. They don't even mention the fact he's Inhuman anymore, but it's like, yeah.
Because like, well, I mean, like they are using the Inhumans aspect in the show, so like you have to kind of bring them into.
See, that's what I would have thought. Like, you know, where's my Eternals comic?
Yeah.
But to actually get back onto Empire.
Yeah, let's get back to it. I don't want to hear sadness from your voice anymore. It's making me sad. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this event because, like, you know, the Kree Skrull War was like huge, you know, back in the day. So
I say it makes sense, and like for leaving it this long between then and now, and to come back to it, it's like, yeah, it's probably a good time. Now, especially with the whole. Just giving the Hulk thing a bit of a push. Like I don't know how the characterization is going to go down because it seems like a bit of like something's clearly happened to Hulkling.
It sounds like
he's
going to be like
mad.
I was going to say like he sounds like the antagonist almost of the series at this.
Kind of. I suppose it depends like what perspective they do it from.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could be a sympathizer basically. You know, like I mean, our like our superheroes have turned their people into like inanimate objects and like pets, you know, at this point.
Yeah.
You know,
And food.
And food,
Don't forget
you know.
the food. Some certain people, probably not alive in the Marvel universe anymore, have eaten Skrull. They're eating cat Skrull. So.
What the biggest question for me is like when's the Skrull kill crew coming back, and you know, like this is a natural end
What
for them,
was
right?
it? The Skrull kill crew, the cows?
Yeah. No. I'm talking about the people that ate the meat and they became like superhuman or something like that.
Oh, I mean,
That's
it's Al Ewing. They are absolutely gonna reference it. So if you don't know what you're talking about, or if you don't know what we're talking about, like they will. Like go back and read anything with a Skrull in it in Marvel, and Al Ewing would have done the same, and he would have made that pull. Like even the tiniest pull you can imagine, Al Ewing will make that, and it'll be in here. But there is a new Elder of the Universe. I was told Celestial at first, and that was wildly wrong.
Who told you that?
I saw on in Discord. It's just like it's an easy mistake to make. So talking about the Celestial, Madonna, and Messiah because that's going to be playing a part in this. And then it's like, oh yeah, we have the Profiteers. Like you can kind of get the. I can see where the confusion came from, but yeah, a new Elder, the Profiteer, which war, profiteering, obviously.
Sounds like human.
Couldn't be less subtle about it, but it's cool. But yeah, I'm excited for Empire. You know,
Me too.
The more they talk about it, the more I'm like, you know what? I'm here. I'm only reading the main series. I ain't touching tie-ins. I'm done with tie-ins after Absolute Carnage. I'm done. I don't care what you do. They can come out here and say, oh, they're important. They're not there for the sake of it. All they want. I ain't touching it.
I feel like this should be like just contained in the main comic and like possibly Fantastic Four and Avengers, you know, like
I was gonna say Fantastic Four and Avengers, fine, no,
and the main like a Prime, like
and an actual Empire book like that, I am perfectly fine with that. Cause it's not really a tie-in. It's like it's essentially the main book, but not.
But you're definitely gonna get more than that, though, for sure. Like this.
100%. There's gonna be a ton of them.
Yeah. So, do you think Hulkling is like turned himself in? It looks like he turned himself into the King of Skrulls so far. You know, like.
Oh yeah, he's ascending. He's taking like his spot.
His birthrights, quote unquote.
So you know, like, he was born to lead both, and he's now taking that up, and obviously to appease both because we ain't been great to either side. It's a very interesting looking Avengers, like anti-Avenger propaganda in the market for this. And it's like I'd have that as a poster, but
no.
And
I'm only assuming that Wiccan's gonna play a pretty big part in this.
Oh yeah, Wiccan's he has to. Like, there's no way they can't dance around it. They've also mentioned that some young Avengers are going to appear in there, which if it's only some, I'd be surprised. Like, why aren't all of them there? They all know who Hulkling is. They all have a relationship with him. Right?
Yeah,
bring them in. But I imagine it's only going to be the ones the MCU is using because
stature.
They Stature, America Chavez, Kate Bishop, Hulkling.
Does America Chavez have? She was a part of the team when Hulkling was there, right?
She was either in the Volume 1 or Volume 2. She definitely started off in the Young Avengers. I just can't remember which one she was.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this. When does this drop, though?
I believe it's July, along with everything else. I could be wrong.
My bank account's gonna be fucking dry.
It's fine. It's not in the first third of the video, so YouTube won't care. That's what that was.
Yeah, it's gonna be dry.
But yeah, we're all gonna be dry.
I'm gonna be comic rich, but I'm not gonna be like rich.
I'll be rich in paper, but not money.
A lot of ink and paper.
But right, that's gonna bring an end to the show. We're gonna end it there. So thanks everyone for joining, and we'll catch you next time. So bye.
Bye.